Welcome to the Blue Cafe. We offer stories of infidelity, betrayal, and redemption. Please like and subscribe. Cheers. Now, on to today's story. Was about to get back with my ex. I just got a FaceTime with her boyfriend who she's been living with for 3 months. Need support. My ex left me about 4 months ago and moved to some mystery location. Said she was going to stay with her cousin, but I knew she was lying. Shit didn't add up. We have a daughter, so I immediately got a lawyer and made sure I got 50-50 custody. Eventually she told me she was staying with 2 couples, which again I knew was bullshit. But not much I could do. Couldn't force her to tell me the right location, but when the time came to write up the paperwork for custody, she provided the address, so that was good. I actually knew where she was. A couple weeks after that, while I was picking my daughter up, my ex said that she didn't have anywhere to stay, and that she was gonna live with her dad. She stayed there for about a week, and said she ended up going back to the same place she was. Then I realized when I would FaceTime with my daughter, that she was in a totally different place. The setting was different. I asked, and of course she lied. So a little while after that she started begging for me back, relentlessly, for about a month. So eventually I came around. We spent a weekend together and I was great, just like only times. We had sex and it was great. Couple days after that she confessed to sleeping with someone else while we were broken up. I did the same, so we decided to just drop it. A week later she starts blowing my phone up again, wanting to get back. Like a duck I let her back in. We were talking for the last 2 days. After I was done with some side work today, I saw I had a missed FaceTime from her. I called back and a guy answered. I was floored. Said that he was her boyfriend. They have been talking for 2 years and dating for 4 months. And this is where she has been staying the last 2 months. She cheated on him with me when we hung out. Really glad dude told me. BC, we were gonna hang out this weekend, and started talking about getting an apartment together. This whole shit is just insane to me, but looking back a lot makes sense. Just looking for any type of advice. My mind is completely blown right now. Hard to wrap my head around. Does she know you talked to her boyfriend yet? She sure does. Right after she texted me saying she still wanted me. She is insane. If you didn't share a child together, you'd have more options. Unfortunately, all you can really do is remain somewhat civil, with the assurance that keeping her out of your life as much as possible is the right decision. You definitely know she won't think twice about cheating on a BF that she lives with. Are we all 100% certain that this is indeed his child? $100 on a PAT test made me sleep better. I'd give this is common, but how do you all so easily go from believing a baby is yours to leaving and acting like they mean nothing to you all because of a DNA test? You would still have some sort of emotional attachment, surely? Is that a serious question? All judgment is reserved until the results come in, but if it comes back negative, I'm out. Simple as that. Attached or not, I'm gone. Yes, there can be attachments, but why would any man in his right mind lock himself to someone that would have him unknowingly raise someone else's kid? Does that make sense? I guess it depends how long you raised them for, right? If you raised them for, say, since they were born to 4/5 years old, surely that's too much time spent to just leave DNA or not. Whereas if they are like 1 year old and you haven't really formed an attachment, then I can see why leaving would be easy, right? It doesn't matter the age for me personally. I get that it was hypothetical, but I'd have that test done at birth to prevent any mishaps in this day and age. That mindset will set you up for hardships that can be avoided. This one situation could literally ruin your life. No. A man with a loving heart would put the child first, regardless of DNA. Maybe not everyone is like you. Love doesn't have to be because of biology. Look at all the happily adopted children there are, and good step-parents. But that was by choice. Every day looking at the fruit of your partner's infidelity, lies, and indiscretion? When are you going to tell them, hey, I'm not your biological dad? If the child is very young, I can see noping out. If they are old enough to recognize you, there would be a divorce and then mom could have full custody. I would visit weekends if the judge allowed it, but I'm not going to pay for it for the next 18 years, because the kind of woman who would do that is the kind of woman who would rope you into child support, and spend that money on tattoos and new boyfriends. My daughter isn't even 2 years old yet. If I found out she wasn't mine, it wouldn't change a thing. She is my whole world and she loves me with all her heart. Anyone who thinks different is either a heartless duck or never wanted a kid to begin with. In my opinion, of course. You'd be wrong on both counts, but hey, that's your opinion. Yeah, exactly. Surely at some point you'll just accept them as yours regardless of DNA. Person that commented below seems very primitive, NGL. None at all for me personally if I found out. It's biologically instilled in us men. It's our ability to rationalize that may keep us there, but there's definitely a hint of repulsion lingering. What? My dad isn't my biological dad, lol. Does he hate me or? I don't get the point you're trying to make here, especially the end of the message. If you could clarify the original message, maybe I'd feel different about it, but it seems like a shitty thing to say about a child who can't help which partner it came from. I did wonder myself how she had a child and her boyfriend never questioned where it went when Op had custody. No, he doesn't hate you. He's just repulsed by you. /yes, obviously. Some of these comments are dumb as hell. Acting like men are cave people incapable of higher reasoning or gasp. Affection. I'm autistic and sometimes I miss the point and people seem crazy when it's just my misunderstanding. But I don't think that's the case this time, lol. I didn't want to assume that the guy was saying that he would resent his kids and only father them because they're his, but yikes. No offense buddy, but higher reasoning overrides love. Love is a basic function based on chemical reactions. If the woman I was married to had a child that wasn't mine, I'm going to let bio dad take care of it. He can give the kid and my STBXW all the affection they want. If I find out later, I'll find a respectable way to step out, but I'm going to leave. It's not that the kid is the problem, but I went North Carolina with my cheating spouse for a reason. That reason is I don't want to be civil around her. You say, oh, what about the kid's rights, blah blah. What about my right to not raise a kid that isn't mine? There are some guys who are nice and warm and fuzzy. I'm not that guy. Maybe you are, and that's great, but there's a lot of people like me too. I wouldn't. Just looking for any type of advice. My mind is completely blown right now. Hard to wrap my head around. You aren't married. She doesn't want to get back together. She wants a doormat to wipe her feet. Got my upvote. She is insane. The only accurate assessment so far. She's got some kind of issue that makes her consistently a monkey branch, and she uses lies, misinformation and withholding information to obscure it. She just seems like an insecure cheater constantly looking for the next best thing, with you as a backup since you're her baby's father. I think monkey branching gives her more credit for having some logical direction than she is capable of. I think this person really seems to be what I like to call an emotional vampire. It's all about the feels, and there is no real person when she looks in the mirror. She takes whatever form will get her a response that makes her feel good at the moment. Maybe she would have moved back with him and then spent all her time reaching out to this guy she is currently living with. Who knows? Probably. Emotional vampire seems fair, though she could also be the type who thinks butterflies are love, and can't stay faithful past that point. Damn, that's hurtful but seems to be true. I've been with a serial cheater in the past and she tried to use me as a safety cushion / fallback option. Op should try to minimize contact with her as much as possible. Struck down but not destroyed. 100 thumbs up. Well, I hope you told her to kick rocks. I just kept it civil. She should know it's wrapped ha. Told her I'd see her to pick up my daughter. That was it ha. She will never ever get my love again. Chick is outside of her mind. I won here. Like yeah, it hurt a lot initially, and still kinda does. But man, I'm free, haha, I'm free from this chick. Great feeling. Bipolar wife cheated and is now on her second failed marriage with a child involved post-separation. Hello everyone, this is my first post here and I'm kind of numb right now and I'm not sure if I got played or not. I, 26 meters, met my ex, 27F, back in 2017, knew her since 2010 but only through mutual friends, when she reached out to me via Facebook. She said she had a crush on me since high school and was recently divorced and wanted to know if I was interested in a date. I took her up on the offer and we fell in love shortly after, or so it seemed. She had a daughter from her previous marriage who was about 2 years old at the time and we bonded almost immediately. The father was absent, according to her, and wanted nothing to do with her, and slowly over time I became more and more of a father figure to her and now I'm all she knows and I am raising her as my own. The trouble started when my ex told me she was pregnant 3 months into the relationship, even though she was supposedly on birth control and had her tubes tied. Rolling eyes face. She lied to me about taking birth control and after much heated debate we decided to keep the baby and do the best we could. This stuck out as a major red flag at the time, but I loved her and forgave her for the lie anyways because I'm a ducking moron. Our son was born on July 18, 2018 and we got married, funded by her parents, and it was a huge event, a year later, and moved into our marital home which was provided to us by her parents. We paid rent which went towards the mortgage. Our marriage started to become a bit rocky because I noticed how abnormally my wife would react to the smallest things. She would get in these moods where something would cause her to explode in anger and storm off into the bathroom with her phone, and I would have to leave her alone to cool off for hours. Me looking at her the wrong way is what would cause this sometimes. Literally anything would set her off. It was insane. One night we got into a huge argument because she had blown all of our savings and had nothing to show for it, nor any explanation as to why she did it. She ended up cutting my hand open that night with a mirror shard, from a mirror she broke during the fight. I have never threatened her or put my hands on her in any way, shape or form. This incident is what made us take her to see a psychiatrist and she was diagnosed with bipolar 2 disorder. Years pass and she seems to be more stable because of her medication, but she's different now. She's cold, distant and never seems to want to go out like we used to. Sex stayed pretty stable, about once a week, and I kept my mouth shut after trying multiple times to talk to her about how I felt like she was avoiding me, to which she denied anything was wrong. She quit her job to voluntarily become a stay-at-home mom and I worked full-time and took care of the children / cleaned the house on my off days. Even though she was distant, she would still remark about how much she loved me and how she was satisfied with our relationship. It all comes to a head about 3 months ago when she starts a new SSRI and starts burning through our savings, leaving me at home with the kids while she goes on abnormally long midnight dog walks and starting arguments only to leave the house for hours at a time. She puts a new lock on her phone and starts waking up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom and text for hours. When I ask her about it, she freaking explodes in anger and storms out. She blocked every female friend I had on Facebook. I was loyal to her 100% and never even looked at another woman, and one night I came home to an empty home. No wife, no kids, and a letter saying she's divorcing me because she's unhappy and has been for a long time. She tells her parents she wants a divorce because of the arguing around the kids, which I agreed wasn't okay, and she told me it was because she was unhappy. Her parents, while heartbroken over the divorce, in her own words, I was the only man she's had that they liked, go ahead and pay for the lawyer again for her second divorce in 7 years involving another child and another soon-to-be ex-husband. We signed papers, no alimony and child support for my son only because I never adopted my daughter officially even though I planned to, during which she puts on an Academy Award-winning performance, crying as soon as I walk in and repeatedly claiming she wants to throw up. Meanwhile I'm trying not to cry, but I just lost it and ugly cried the entire way home. my ex called me and told me she wanted to work on herself and then hopefully reconcile later. My heart was broken, but I was trying to be optimistic and didn't want to lose her, so I agreed to reconcile. I pick up our kids for the first visitation and asked my daughter how her week was, and she tells me that my ex has a new man sleeping over at the house already. We literally signed divorce papers 5 days prior. She then told me that while we were still married, this man was coming over and having sleepovers with my ex while I was at work. I'm absolutely devastated, and I feel like I've been manipulated this entire time and wasted 5 years of my life with someone who never actually loved me and just wanted someone to support her. My kids are already having a tough time with the divorce, and she already has her AP around them. I'm disgusted and heartbroken. Edit, she acted incredibly guilty during the divorce, and I think I understand why now. Whoever this new guy is living with her right now, and while it isn't my business, she explicitly told me that the divorce wasn't because of someone else, and she really needed me to understand that. What a crock of shit. I was used by this woman for 5 years, and every time she went into a fit of hypomania/depression, I was there to pick up the pieces. Yeah, she sounds like someone who suffers from mental illness, not that it makes it any better or easier. Just that she should probably not be married to anyone. I know it's very hard, but at this point you need to let her go completely so you can be unemotional and focus on your kids. They are gonna need you. Yeah, she's like a completely different person now. Our relationship really wasn't healthy, but I thought things would get better. It was my first marriage and I was naive, I guess. Maybe, I got to the point when I was dating that I expected good, and if it wasn't, then I just passed. It's so rare that unhealthy, as you call it, gets better. You have to start with really good so the times when it's bad, it's still okay. If your relationship is a benefit to you overall, you're better off being alone. I mean, I get this line of thinking, but it's different when you're in it and children are involved. When you're being gaslighted into believing that things that you know were not okay, were okay, then you start to question your own reality. She may have a mental illness, but it still hurts like hell. You should probably go for full custody. She does not sound like a stable person. I agree. The children will suffer and their emotional, mental capacity will be permanently damaged if you don't separate them from their mentally unstable mother. Unfortunately, he at best could only get his son. The daughter isn't his legally or biologically. And if he only got his son and left her, it would not only mess her up mentally, but it would stop any excuse he has to get her out of there, even for short periods of time. While I agree with this, I have to bide my time and slowly build a case against her. I need to adopt my daughter as well before I do it, which is going to be a challenge in and of itself. The problem with these mental cases is that they are incredibly addictive. You are drawn to them and want to be there for them, fix them. They're like your very own pet project. When they are not physically and mentally abusing you, their love bombing is something out of this world. I tell her family the real reason and think you may have dodged a huge bullet. I wish you and your son the best. Work on yourself and him. Live your best life. The pain will slowly go away. Victory hand. Your ex is an incredibly broken individual. Put as much distance as possible between you two. She will continue moving through guys and provide a terrible home environment. Your kids need as much stability as you can provide, because she will never be able to. She is one of these broken human beings who doesn't put effort into changing herself and thinks she can find happiness by changing her external environment. Continue to be a good father and try to show the kids over time what a healthy and happy environment looks like. She's incredibly unwell, and it sounds as if she will always be unwell. Likely to be married many more times over and pop out a few other kids along the way. Unfortunately, I believe this as well. While I wasn't a perfect partner, I was dedicated to her and was loyal for the entirety of our marriage. I didn't realize I was just another ex in the bin until it was too late. I think she needs therapy and a fine-tuned cocktail of medication in order to have a chance at stability. Our kids are all that matters, and I'm building a case to try and go for full custody. That will be hard to prove, but good luck. Regardless of outcome, focus efforts on protecting them as much as possible. Also, it sounds like her family enables her, so be wary of them as well. This divorce was the first wake-up call for her parents. They're pretty disgusted with her at the moment. Do they know about infidelity too? Be sure to make them aware. They do know but are currently out of town. I only told them about it a few days ago when I had solid proof. Yes, the kids are all that matters. Affair partner gets dirty, illegal, Linen Z loses job as financial planner, throwaway account. Note 1: names, characters, and places are changed for privacy reasons. Note 2: trigger warning, this revenge story involves gaslighting and infidelity. Names: Matt Edit, me for clarity, 39-year gay male with lupus. George, partner of 13 years, is a year older at 40. John, 33-year-old affair partner. Financial advisor. Background: a bit of backstory. Partner and I were monogamous for 10 years. Sure, we had an occasional threesome before that, but nothing long term. I know I am potentially going to get a few people who will say that's where it all started. The understanding was that we would not do anything behind the other's back, and whomever we brought into the relationship would be an equal in the relationship. We wanted to have our couple evolve into a throuple. Needless to say, it didn't work out. We tried, and basically the last person we tried to court ended up gaslighting me and playing the victim with George. Admittedly, I wasn't bringing my best self to the relationship. Two people who basically raised me died and I was in mourning. And I was focused on the rest of my family whom I love dearly. Partner uses my lupus and choosing to spend time with family as his justification for cheating and lying to me about it. D-Day, spread over a few days before COVID lockdowns. In March, my partner had told me he wanted some time apart. I initially agree, but then things just didn't seem right. I thought we were fine relationship-wise, but something seemed amiss. I have my own place and I give him some space. D-Day 1, Sunday, he tells me he has a spa session, legit massage, that evening and that he would be busy and wouldn't be able to meet till late for dinner. I didn't think anything was going on behind my back. He said he would call when he was done and not to wait for me for dinner. We were still having meals together since it's something we were so used to doing together. I needed some notebook I had left at his place, and thinking he was having his spa session, I let myself into his place. Lo and behold, he's having dinner with the Jean. I leave and he assures me that he's just having dinner with a friend and that his spa session got rescheduled. I asked, point blank, if anything was going on between them, and he said no. D-Day 2, Wednesday, I'm just a complete wreck. I don't know what's going on, I don't know what's true and what's real anymore, and I get the gut feel that there's more to George and John than George is letting me in on. I do some sleuthing and find out that they're friends on Facebook but not on Instagram. Curious, no? Yet they've been liking each other's posts on Instagram. I remember George logging into my iPad, so I go on and check for any message history. And wouldn't you know, I see exchanges between them going on for months. Once again, I ask George who is this person whom he's friends with on Facebook but not on Instagram, and why are their interactions so bizarre? George tells me he's just a friend, nothing more, and that I'm crazy. My blood must have been boiling at this point. I then remind him that he's still logged into my iPad and his face just changes. He tells me that I betrayed his trust and that I really shouldn't have done that. He must have been in full-blown panic mode. In their messages, I find out that they've been seeing each other since September 2019. I had an emergency appendectomy in October 2019, turns out what I thought was indigestion was actually chronic appendicitis and it had finally ruptured, and the very next day while I was recovering in the hospital, George and John went out for dinner and John stayed over after. No prizes for guessing what happened that night. They're talking about me in their conversations, and they even arranged to meet on Monday, after D-Day 1. John asked if I would show up again and George said that I wouldn't. At this point, my whole life before just felt like one big fat lie. I'm having plenty of sleepless nights, thinking about how I'm the chump they were fooling for 5 months. I was none the wiser. Furious, I engaged revenge for hire service. I wasn't thinking clearly and caveat emptor, I lucked out with a service that did a good job. I gave them all the information about John the first had, not much, just his social media accounts, and they did some investigative work. They dug up quite a bit of dirt on him. Turns out, John was in a relationship as well. Inform the partner? Check. George wasn't the only person John was cheating with. They managed to find some chat history of his hookups all the way to 2017. What's most interesting is that John enjoyed using illicit drugs while having these trysts, complete with contact information of parties involved and locations where it happened. They dug deeper and found conversations where he would advise friends to commit insurance fraud. Nothing major, mind you, but well, fraud is still fraud. And from the conversations, it seems that the insurers did pay out for bogus travel delays. The revenge agency then asks me how I would like to proceed with the information. I told them, I just want his life ruined. My life and relationship have been ruined, why not share a little the pain I was feeling? The agency said that they had informed all parties involved. Last I heard, his insurance agencies dropped him, on the basis of encouraging insurance fraud, and he has a criminal record for drug use. And now that he has a criminal record means he can no longer travel to Canada or Japan, countries he loves to visit. His family knows that he's been cheating and using drugs. And his partner knows he's been ducking around, without protection and without prep. TL, doctor, mess with me, you better be clean as a whistle or I'll have you marked as a cheater, or worse, for life. Affair partner gets drug record, loses $150,000 a year job and is barred from visiting Canada and Japan due to drug-related charge. Okay, but please tell me you left George. There's more revenge in store. He's not getting away. Damn my guy. Waiting on episode 2. I demand a sneak preview. Ooh man, what you gonna do 0.0. George, you played with the wrong guy, watch out for that tree revenge coming soon. PS, till there's such a thing as revenge for hire service. Oh gosh. Waiting for part 2. Reading that gave me chills. Looking forward to it. What is this revenge agency you talk about? Is it a private investigator? They are private investigators, some are ex-law enforcement. Not sure I am allowed to post their link here. How did you evaluate which private investigators to hire? They came recommended by a friend whose potential husband was cheating on her. She apparently uses them to vet anyone who gets remotely serious. LA Asians are pretty crazy, no hate. She's been a great ally. If anything, I would look for someone who has some legal experience, enforcement or otherwise, that way they would know what's allowed. I've always wondered how much it costs to hire one of these buys. Do you mind to give the range of cost to hire pie? I paid $3,000. They're usually about $80 to $150 an hour for licensed ones, or so I've heard. She apparently uses them to vet anyone who gets remotely serious. Wow, that's a red flag, lol. Right, I've just twigged that you're Matt in this story. That's some serious revenge and I look forward to reading more about where this goes. You're wrong if you think that disclaimer is going to stop anybody. He tells me that I betrayed his trust and that I really shouldn't have done that. No matter how many times I hear people do this, it instantly makes me quite angry. You violated my privacy. And what is it that you think you were violating? He's only sorry he got caught. Says he doesn't like who he is. Hey, I saw this post, under your profile, was removed on nuclear revenge for apparently being fake? AKA their true stories only rule number 1 apparently. What's that all about? Middle dot. It's a true story. It is up to the mods on nuclear revenge. I had opened up a mod mail but they didn't approve of it. Edit, dug up the mod mail even if it is true, it's not nuclear revenge. Offers a hug. I'm so sorry you had to go through all that shit. I hope George suffers greatly for hurting you and betraying your trust. Partners should never betray each other. It never ends good for the one who betrays. Hug accepted. Thank you, Goddess Nefertiti. I'm more than happy to give hugs. Or beat someone's ass for messing with one of my friends. I'm in that same boat. I'll destroy your life if you willfully hurt my friend's ship/yacht/whatevs. We hope you have enjoyed today's episode. Please comment, like and subscribe. Cheers. Have a wonderful day or night, wherever you are.